Yesterday, Ida Odinga attended a function in Suba South constituency where she made some remarks that have been interpreted to mean she endorsed John Mbadi, ODM's chairman, as Raila Odinga's successor. In this video, I want us to listen to Ida Odinga, after which I'll interpret what she's saying and what that means politically. Was that an endorsement of John Mbadi? Let's listen to Ida Odinga. Ida Odinga is saying this. He is a Kenyan and not the first one to seek employment abroad. He has told me that he has things in order and has already made plans. He has many fair sons and daughters. Even if he's not in Kenya, those sons will be around. Mbadi, am I lying? All these years, Baba has been training and mentoring you. Do you still need more training? Aren't you ready enough? I will leave that there. That is where Baba's heart rests. I don't want to say too much. I haven't said anything. I have only touched on something small. That's exactly what Ida Odinga is saying. And Kenyans and even local media have interpreted that to mean she endorsed John Mbadi as Raila Odinga's successor. Is that the case, ladies and gentlemen? And I'm asking that question because sometimes last year, around September, we saw Raila's elder brother Oburu endorsing Opiyo Wandayi as a possible Raila Odinga successor, after which he made a U-turn and said he never endorsed Opiyo Wandayi. That was last year, 2023, around September. And now we are seeing Raila Odinga's wife, Ida, propping up John Mbadi's name. And maybe in the coming days, she might also make a U-turn and say that was not an endorsement of Mbadi as Raila Odinga's successor. So you are seeing Oburu started that, and now you are seeing Ida coming with a different name and a different person. Why the conflicting statements? I want us to put all that into perspective for Kenyans to understand what all those means and what's happening here. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe in order not to miss our next analysis. Let's continue. I don't want to take the remarks by Ida Odinga as an endorsement of John Mbadi as Raila Odinga's successor, because I'm pretty sure that in the coming days, Ida Odinga might clarify things and she will just say she never endorsed John Mbadi as Raila Odinga's successor. So I don't want to take the sentiments to mean Raila Odinga has endorsed or Ida Odinga has endorsed John Mbadi. But one thing coming out very clearly, if you see Oburu Odinga seemingly endorsing Opiyo Wandayi, then denouncing that, and then months later, we are seeing Ida Odinga seemingly endorsing another person, the conflicting statements and endorsements confirms that Raila Odinga has not yet settled or identified his successor. He has not settled or identified his successor. That's why we are seeing some of these close Raila's allies giving conflicting statements and remarks. So Raila supporters and even Kenyans should understand that very well. Raila Odinga has not yet identified or settled on a person to succeed him. Secondly, in the absence of Raila Odinga, very many ODM leaders will be coming out to say that they have a message from Raila Odinga. And some will be lying just to earn some political mileage on the ground that they will be seen to be very close to Raila Odinga to a point Raila can send them a message to deliver to his supporters. Very many ODM leaders will be coming out to say they have a message from Raila Odinga, and some will be clearly lying. I'm seeing Raila Odinga just trying to inform Raila supporters and Kenyans in advance that in the event Raila Odinga will not be there, one source that will deliver some reliable message from Raila Odinga is John Mbadi, just by the virtue that is the ODM's chairman. So Ida here is just endorsing Mbadi as a reliable person who will be passing Raila's message to his supporters if Raila will not be there. I'm not seeing that as an endorsement that now Mbadi will succeed Raila Odinga. And also somebody like Opiyo Wandayi, in the absence of Raila Odinga, by the virtue that he is the minority leader in the National Assembly, he'll also be seen as a reliable source that will be communicating Raila's message to Kenyans and to his supporters. And even somebody like Edwin Sifuna, just by the virtue that is the ODM Secretary General, he'll also be seen or propelled as a reliable source that will communicate Raila's message to Kenyans and to his supporters. All these individuals will be endorsed. I'm seeing something like that. Something also coming out very clearly from that. Raila Odinga is trying to test his support base. Do they want him to retire? Do they want him to anoint a successor? And I'm saying that because you are seeing Opiyo Wandayi being propelled, his name being mentioned, now Mbadi, and tomorrow maybe somebody else will be mentioned. Raila is clearly trying to test his support base. Do they want him to retire, or do they want him to anoint a successor for them? If a name is proposed or mentioned and Raila supporters accept that person, then that can be a sign to Raila Odinga that his supporters wants him to retire. If the supporters reject that person, then it will be a clear sign to Raila Odinga that his supporters don't want him to retire, or they don't want that candidate he's trying to anoint as his successor. And I'm saying that because upon Oburu Odinga propping up Opiyo Wandayi, very many Kenyans, especially Raila supporters, were not fully convinced that Opiyo Wandayi is the actual successor. And now upon Mbadi being mentioned, very many of Raila supporters are also not convinced that Mbadi is the actual successor. All that confirms that Raila supporters don't want him to retire. Or at least he should look for a better candidate other than the ones being proposed. And also, if you look at it objectively from another angle, I don't think Raila Odinga was anointed by anybody to succeed Jaramogi. Raila propelled himself. So the next successor who will succeed Raila Odinga, I don't think that person will be anointed or appointed by Raila Odinga, but the person will propel himself. And such a person, in my honest opinion, will need to have the qualities that made the Luo nation accept Raila Odinga. A brave, fearless leader who is not afraid to confront and speak truth to power. I believe that Raila supporters will just identify that kind of a leader, after which Raila, in his wisdom, will just propel that kind of a leader. But I'm not seeing that happening soon. I'm seeing a Raila Odinga who is still energetic and is still going to be there for quite some times. So the remarks by Odinga's, I conclude, are not an endorsement of John Mbadi as Raila Odinga's successor. Odinga was just trying to tell Kenyans and more so Raila Odinga supporters that in the absence of Raila Odinga, one reliable source that will be passing Raila's message to his supporters and to Kenyans, that source is John Mbadi. And more sources will be named as time goes by. I think that's exactly what Ida Odinga meant. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Any person watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. Let's meet in our next analysis.